Well, good afternoon, everybody. How y'all doing? Pretty good here, and welcome to the channel. Hey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Today, I wanted to get on here and talk about something pretty important, I think, and that's crash testing. You know, recently there was this big thing out about the Tundra back there, and how poorly it performed in the crash tests. So I thought, well, what about the Tacoma up here? So I went out to the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety and I pulled their test. Now, what this covers is everything from 2016 through 2019 on the Tacoma. And it classifies it here as the small pickup crew cab. So it's the double cab that they actually show the picture of. So anyway, let's dig right in here. The first part of this test they classify as a small overlap front driver's side. Now, what does that mean? Well, the small overlap frontal test is a 40-mile-an-hour test with a 5-foot barrier. 25% of the total vehicle width strikes the barrier. So from the driver's side edge, 25% in, hits that 5-foot barrier. And they do the same test on the passenger side. So let's go ahead and start. Before we do that, the rankings, they're done on the GAMP system. I don't know if they call it that, but it spells GAMP. What that means is G-A-M-P. G for good, A for acceptable, M for marginal, and P for poor. So, the small overlap frontal driver's side. The overall ranking was G for good, number 1 on the GAMP scale. So, what entailed that, I guess? First of all, structural and safety cage was good, and then they measured driver injury. And this is with those dummies, you know, those talking dummies that used to be in the commercials and stuff. Head and neck was good, chest was good, hip and thigh was good, lower leg and foot was acceptable. So number 2 on the GAMP scale, not number 1, number 2, which again gave the test an overall rating of G for good. Now we move on to the passenger side. Again, the small overlap front passenger side. Let's see, the overall evaluation was acceptable. Something bad's going to be in here. It was acceptable. And what, again, made up all of that? Well, first of all, structural and safety cage was good. Passenger injury measures. Head and neck was good. Chest was good. Hip and thigh was good, and this is where we have the problem. Lower leg and foot was poor. Poor. I don't know if that's because I've been seeing a lot of pictures of people riding with their feet up on the dash. Don't put your feet on the dash. I don't know if it had anything to do with that, but it was poor nonetheless. Let's see. Let's move on to the next part of this test, which is the moderate overlap frontal. Now, the moderate overlap frontal is a 40-mile-an-hour test with a 2-foot barrier. 40% of the total vehicle width strikes the barrier from either the driver's side or the passenger side. So, here we go. The overall evaluation was G for good on the GAMP scale. What made that up? Well, safety and structure cage was a G for good. And then we have the driver injury measures. Head and neck was acceptable. 1 down from number 1 on the GAMP scale. Chest was good. Left leg and foot was good. Right leg and foot was also good. And then they say the restraints and all that stuff was good as well. Now, moving on, we have the side impact test. The side impact test is done with a 3,300-pound SUV size barrier, this great big honking piece of concrete probably, hits the driver or the passenger side at 31 miles an hour. So they're trying to show what would happen if like an SUV slammed into the side of you, basically. The overall evaluation was good. Number 1 on the GAMP scale. What made that up? Let's see. Structure and safety cage was good. Driver injury measures. Head and neck was good. Torso was good. Pelvis and leg was good. Driver head protection was good. Now they also throw the rear passengers in here, right? Because they're in the vehicle, right? Head and neck, these are injury measures. Head and neck was good. Torso was acceptable. And pelvis and leg was good. The rear passenger head protection was also good. Now we're going to measure the roof strength, which is important if you had a rollover, right? And I've seen some of you guys out there four-wheeling with the truck laying on its roof or laying on its side. So this might be important to you guys. And how they do this, they take an angled metal plate, they push it down on one side of the roof with slow and constant speed, measuring the force required to crush the roof. Overall evaluation was good. Number 1 on the GAMP scale. Now, they're saying that the curb weight on this thing must be on the Tacoma itself. It seems kind of heavy to me, I don't know, but 4,170 pounds. Maybe it had a load of gravel in it, I don't know. The peak force that they put on that thing was 17,213 pounds. Well above the weight of the truck itself. Unless you were in the air and slammed down, then it would be even higher, I guess. And then the strength to weight ratio was 4.13. There you go. So they actually applied 4.13 times or so the weight of the Tacoma that they listed as on here. Now let's talk about head restraints and seats. And these are manual cloth seats. Well, there is no automatic in the Tacoma yet, so they're all manual, aren't they? Anyway, the overall evaluation was G for good. The dynamic rating was good, and the seat/head restraint geometry was good as well. Now this is an interesting part here. They also measured front crash prevention. You know, the systems that you have in the truck. In Toyota's case, it's the TSS system, the Toyota Safety Sense. Now I would argue that maybe this is true when it's working. You know, there's been recalls and problems with this system, right? I don't know, but let's assume it's working. Let's see, the package name, they call it a standard Toyota Safety Sense. It applies to the 2018 to 2019 models, aren't we lucky? The overall evaluation, this actually got a superior, I guess, when it works. The 3 components of it were: the system meets the requirements for forward collision warning. It'll let you know. It's nice. They did a 12-mile-per-hour test, and they said the vehicle avoided collision. That's good. They also did a 25-mile-an-hour test, and they again said the vehicle avoided a collision. I guess that's good when it works. Now, one other part of this, because people always complain about this, and they actually test this, are the headlights. Let's see. They say that the low beam headlight type is halogen projector. The high beam headlight type is halogen reflector. Cruise adaptive? No. High beam assist? Yes. That's that little button you can push, at least in my model. And the overall rating was an M. An M. I'm going to have to go back and look. I don't even remember. M stands for moderate or marginal. It got a marginal. That's 3rd on the GAMP scale. What did they have to say about it? Well, here you go. And a lot of people complain about this, so I thought, yeah, we got to cover that. Low beams. On a straightaway, visibility was inadequate on both sides of the road. So you can't see what's on the right or the left of you, I guess. On curves, visibility was inadequate in all 4 tests. Come on, Toyota, you got to do something with those headlights. You got that new model coming out, right? The new update, or whatever you want to call it, the refresh. Got to do something with those headlights, and I think they are. Let's see. The low beams never exceeded glare limits. Well, I wouldn't think so, because if they're not bright enough to light up the whole road, I don't know how they could be causing anybody a problem with glare, but it didn't. The high beams. On the straightaway, visibility was good on the right side of the road and inadequate on the left. Well, that'd be the driver's side. On curves, visibility was fair on the gradual right curve, so when they turned right, it was fair. And inadequate on a sharp right and both left curves. You can't do anything on the left in this truck, or you're going to have a problem. High beam assist compensates for some limitations of this vehicle's low beams on the straightaway and all four curves. So you get a little bit of help. Child seat anchors, we're not going to go into that in depth. I'll just tell you that it got an M on the GAMP scale. It got a marginal rating, so that's number 3. You got the little ones in the back, I don't know. And most of that, it looks like to me, was really dealing with attaching it. User friendliness, if you will. Now, what's the takeaway from this? Well, I mean, overall, in crash worthiness, the Tacoma got a G for good on the GAMP scale. That's the best you can get. So I think they're doing pretty good. There are some things they need to work on, obviously, but they're not hugely terrible. So I think they did okay. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here, cover some of this stuff. You guys can find this if you want. It's out on the let's see, iihs.org site. You can go out there and you can find this test yourself if you want to take a closer look at it. Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Do you guys care about this kind of stuff? What do you think of this? Does it matter? Do you look this kind of stuff up when you're going to buy a new vehicle? It sure would seem like it from all the comments I got about the Tundra's poor performance back there. Anyway, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next time on the web. Have a great day. Bye.